Is Iceland on your bucket list, or you have always dreamed of visiting Iceland one day? Or maybe you are already thinking of visiting Iceland soon. Iceland is known for its incredible natural phenomenons and breathtaking landscape. You might have heard that Iceland is expensive and not budget friendly. Maybe that has got you delaying your trip, but did you know that you actually can travel to Iceland on a budget and still have an amazing experience? Be sure to watch to the end of the video to increase your chances of saving money. There are plenty of amazing experiences to be had in Iceland on a budget, even some that won't even cost you one Icelandic krona. Here are 7 useful tips if you are thinking of saving money on your trip or going on a budget trip to Iceland. So where do you start? Number 1. Planning. The first thing is planning your trip. I think you can never plan too well. Planning and researching before your Iceland trip is essential for you so you can have a successful budget trip. That way you are less likely to run into unexpected spending and more likely to save money. Do research like watching this video, browse around for information on this subject. Just soak in as much information as you possibly can. How much you spend will depend on factors like what level of accommodation you choose, if you opt for a rental car, how many tours you take, how often you eat out, if you like to have a few drinks, and so on. A minimal budget for Iceland is $60 to $80 per person per day, and that's staying in a hostel dorm, cooking most of your own meals, skipping tours, and taking buses. A mid-range budget is more like $200 per person per day. That provides some wiggle room for nicer accommodation, a rental car, a tour or two, and a few more meals out, though you could easily spend more. Number 2. Season. Of course, all depends on how long and where and when you are going to stay. Reykjavik is most expensive, as for many places on the south coast. Summer season is high season, more expensive, but you are most likely to be lucky with the weather. Though the endless bright summer nights are very charming in Iceland, the wintertime also has its charm, but you could be in for a bit of a gamble with the weather. The winter time can bring on some unexpected adventures and some stunning northern lights. Number 3. Accommodations. The biggest saving you could make is of course on accommodations. You could consider staying in hostels, homestays, Airbnb rather than hotels, or maybe go camping. Camping in Iceland is relatively cheap, about $10 per night, where you can have showers and Wi-Fi. But with this option you are limited on your visiting time, since the summer is the most suitable for camping. Iceland has some awesome hostels spread around the country, which makes your road trip budget even better. Prices start at around $30 to $50 per night for a dorm bed in a hostel. A one-bedroom Airbnb or double room in a guest house is typically $100 to $150 per night. Check both Airbnb and hotels combined to see the cheapest prices across major booking sites for homestays, hostels, and hotels. Number 4. On arrival. You have arrived. Okay, you have just landed in Iceland's airport and all excited to start your trip as you are walking through the terminal. The first saving tip you might need to use straight away at the airport terminal, before you rush through customs. If you need alcohol or tobacco, then it is much cheaper to buy them at the duty-free store. In Iceland, alcohol is only sold in specific stores and you will pay way less for it in the duty-free store. Don't get fooled by the candy in the duty-free store, because it is most likely cheaper in town. Perfumes and makeup are also cheaper in the duty-free, so if you need something like that, and you forgot to bring it with you, then you should definitely pick it up at the duty-free store rather than in town. Another thing which is very useful to know before you head out of the terminal and breathe in that fresh, cool Icelandic air is that you don't need to buy water. The water in Iceland is extremely fresh and you can drink it from any tap. If you are at a restaurant and you want to save on drinks, ask for a glass of water, or they might have them on a prepared table and it is free. Just have your water bottle with you as you go and you can fill it up anywhere on your stops. Now, if your first stop is Reykjavik, and you might have noticed that your flight destination said Reykjavik, that is not actually right. Iceland's airport is in Keflavik, which is about 40-minute drive from Reykjavik. So the first thing is to get from the airport. Taking a taxi into town is very expensive, so the obvious option is to take the bus. Bus fare will be around 20 to 26 US dollars per person, public bus around 10 to 15 US dollars, while taxi can cost around 160 to 200 US dollars for a regular 5-seater car. Note, there are more than one bus options to get to Reykjavik which have different drop-off places and prices, so be sure to look up your options you choose from. If you have a rental car, then you will drive past Reykjanesbær, which is the town nearest to the airport. On your way to Reykjavik you can stop at Bonusfitjar to load up on groceries for the best possible price. This is a simple way instead of driving around in Reykjavik to find a store. This of course applies only if you arrive during their opening hours. Number 5. Transportation. When getting around in Reykjavik or Iceland you have different options. You can rent a car, do research and compare prices. This depends a lot on the duration of your trip. You can rent budget camper cars if you want to drive around Iceland and sleep in your car. That can be a budget-friendly way to go around the whole island without booking accommodations. You should take into consideration that fuel is rather expensive in Iceland. A tip can be to make friends, for example at your hostel, and offer to join in to pay the fuel and go together on day trips. In winter, and especially if you don't have experience driving in snow, it's highly recommended to stick to the south coast, Golden Circle, and Reykjavik. Other transportation are the buses. There are a variety of day trips you can take outside Reykjavik, such as the Golden Circle. Price for a Golden Circle day trip start at about $60. In Reykjavik you can use the public buses. The public buses also have a few destinations outside Reykjavik such as Keflavik, Akranes, Selfoss, and Akureyri. Another transportation method is hitchhiking, which seems to be fairly popular in Iceland. Iceland is very safe for hitchhikers. It is of course most convenient to use the hiking method in the summer, late spring and early autumn due to weather. You should get around rather easily hitchhiking, not having to wait too long on busy roads. All of Iceland's traffic goes on the main ring road number 1, so you could easily hitchhike around the whole island. In the summertime, quite a lot of cyclists come to Iceland and bicycle around the country. If you are thinking of cycling in Iceland, be sure to do your research on that, because Iceland does have quite a challenging nature, as well as the weather can also be challenging. 6. Food. Next thing is food. Food is relatively expensive in Iceland, especially to eat out. If you want to save money you might consider preparing your own meals and keep takeaways to a minimum. So for your grocery shopping you will absolutely have to shop at Bonus Food Store. Bonus has the best prices. Next best prices has Kronan. You might also consider Netto. Bonus is definitely the best choice for your wallet, though they can be a bit limited in variety. Their opening hours are a bit shorter than the more expensive grocery stores, but they do have all you need for the best prices. Just remember the cute pig and then you are in the right store. There is some traditional Icelandic food that is a must for you to try, like the sheep head, skyr, sodarsalta, dried fish and more. You can find it in most food stores. Eating out in Iceland is expensive, but you can find some fast food places that won't break your wallet. If you want to eat out you can check the weekly Reykjavik Grapevine for happy hour deals. Icelandic people have an odd obsession with the Icelandic hot dog. It's definitely a must to try, and even more one of the most affordable foods you can grab. Best thing is that you can buy it almost everywhere for about $4. The most famous hot dog seller in Iceland is Byron's Bestupulsur, which is located in the city's central beer like Jargata. Budget-friendly food would also be pizza, especially if a group needs to share. You can find special offers on pizzas at Domino's. If you need a quick meal, you can also find prepared freezer meals in the grocery stores such as Netto that are not expensive. 7. Activities. You have arrived in Iceland. Of course you want to get a taste of what it has to offer even though you are on a budget. Iceland has an incredible variety of scenery. Everywhere you go you will have a new different experience. The day trips from Reykjavik are pretty affordable, but if you are out for more adventures, than just the famous Golden Circle, the cost for several trips can quickly add up. You might consider renting a car and exploring the tourist sites on your own, or join in with friends that you meet at your hostel, guesthouse or Airbnb if they have an extra seat in their car in return for some gas money. There are some budget car rentals in Iceland where you can get a good deal. Driving along the south coast of Iceland is an astonishing experience. As soon as you are in Iceland you are surrounded by scenery. So if you are staying in Reykjavik you don't have to go far outside the city limits to see the fascinating nature. Even a short drive or a trip with a public bus outside the city limits will give you plenty to explore. There are so many places in Iceland that are not as touristy as the main attractions, which are definitely worth seeing. In Reykjavik you can explore the city centrum, there are plenty of museums you can visit and the entrance is not expensive. You could visit the Pearl, where they have exhibitions, and the Ice Cave, which is a really cool place to visit and family friendly. If you travel with kids or just want to have some water fun in Reykjavik, then you should know that there are plenty of swimming pools all around in Reykjavik. Most of them have steam baths, ice baths, several hot tubs and water slides. The swimming pools are a great affordable and fresh, spa-like activity. One of Reykjavik's biggest swimming pools is Laugardalslag. It is located in Laugardalur next to Reykjavik's campsite. If basing yourself in Reykjavik, the top sites in the Golden Circle can easily be seen in a day trip booked with immediate confirmation and pickup. You can expect to see Gullfoss Waterfall, Geyser Hot Spring Eruption, Thingvellir, which is Iceland's national park, and nearby Secret Lagoon, which is much more affordable than the Blue Lagoon. Firthheimar, Tomato Restaurant and Greenhouse is also nearby, and Laugardalvatn Fontana Spa. Another activity you could do if you are based in Reykjavik is go hiking in Esja. Esja is a mountain very close to Reykjavik and will most likely be visible for you during your stay. This is absolutely free, only thing is to get there. You can get paid tours to Esja, but you can also get there privately by public bus. Well, now we have gone over the main things to consider if you want to save money on your trip to Iceland. There are so much more things we could go over in more detail, but this should get you started on your budget trip, so you can save money. Stay tuned for some more upcoming videos on the biggest small country in the world, Iceland. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe. You can also tell me your best budget tip in the comments down below. Be sure to check out links in description. Thank you and have a great vacation in Iceland. Before you travel to Iceland, be sure to watch our video on safety in Iceland, the link is down below.